Is Nick Robertson about to make the exact same mistake by going to another rebuilding team where opportunity means nothing if there's no winning culture? Or is this finally his chance to escape Toronto's suffocating depth and actually become the player everyone thought he could be? Here's something that'll make your head spin. Nick Robertson just signed a one-year contract extension with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and before the ink is even dry on that deal, he's already being shopped around the league like a clearance item at a going-out-of-business sale. 23 years old, coming off a 15-goal season, showing legitimate NHL scoring ability. And Toronto is already looking to move him. If that doesn't sum up the absolute chaos of the Maple Leafs roster management strategy, I don't know what does. And now we got three teams circling: the San Jose Sharks, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Columbus Blue Jackets, each with their own reasons for wanting a piece of this young, talented winger. Let's get one thing straight right off the bat. Nick Robertson is not some scrub who can't play at the NHL level. This is a kid who scored 15 goals last season in just 69 games, while averaging barely 12 minutes of ice time. Do the math on that. If you give him 15 to 16 minutes a night over a full 82-game season, you're potentially looking at a 25-goal scorer. That's not speculation. That's basic arithmetic, based on production rate. So why is Toronto so eager to move him? Because they've created a logjam at forward that makes rush hour traffic look organized. The Leafs just added Matthias Maxelli and Dakota Joshua to their forward group. Both are wingers. Both are going to eat up roster spots and ice time. Suddenly, Robertson finds himself in the exact same position he's been in for years. On the outside looking in, fighting for scraps of playing time, unable to get the consistent opportunity he needs to truly develop and showcase what he can do. It's a tale as old as time in Toronto. Draft and develop young talent, then bury them on the depth chart behind expensive veterans and never give them a real chance to succeed. And you know what the most frustrating part of all this is? Robertson has done everything asked of him. When he gets ice time, he produces. When he's given opportunities, he scores goals. But in Toronto's system, where playing time is determined more by salary than performance, young players like Robertson get squeezed out. So now, rather than figure out how to maximize his talent within their organization, the Leafs are looking to trade him and get whatever assets they can in return. Let's break down the three teams that have emerged as potential landing spots, because each one represents a completely different path for Robertson's career. First up, we got the San Jose Sharks, and honestly, this feels like deja vu all over again. We literally just talked about the Sharks being interested in Robertson in an earlier report, and here we are again. San Jose is in full rebuild mode. They've got cap space to burn, they're hungry for young talent, and they're willing to give players like Robertson the ice time opportunity he's been craving. On paper, it makes perfect sense. But here's my concern, and it's a big one. Going to San Jose means go to a team that's going to lose a lot of games. Like, a lot of games. Sure, Robertson would get his 15-plus minutes per night. Sure, he'd probably get power play time and chances to pad his stats. But he'd be doing it on a team that's nowhere near competitive in front of sparse crowds with limited national exposure and zero playoff prospects. Is that really the best environment for a young player trying to establish himself as an NHL regular? There's also the question of development versus winning culture. When you're on a bad team, you can develop bad habits. You can get comfortable with losing. You can put up decent individual numbers while your team gets crushed night after night. And before you know it, you become a good stats, bad team guy that contenders don't want. That's a real risk for Robertson if he goes to San Jose. On the flip side, the Sharks have shown a willingness to work with Toronto on trades. We've already seen Timothy Liljegren and Ryan Reeves go to San Jose in recent deals, so there's an established relationship between these front offices. That could make negotiations easier and help a deal come together quickly. Plus, San Jose desperately needs scoring help, and Robertson provides that at an affordable price. Then we got the Pittsburgh Penguins, and this is where things get really interesting. Pittsburgh represents what they're calling a high-risk, high-reward play, and I actually think that's a perfect way to describe what Robertson could be for them. The Penguins are in a weird spot right now. They got Sidney Crosby still playing at an elite level in his late 30s, but the window is clearly closing. They need to balance supporting their veteran core with adding young talent that can contribute now while also being part of the future. Robertson fits that profile. He's young enough to be part of Pittsburgh's next wave of talent. But he's also NHL ready and can contribute immediately. Imagine Robertson playing on a line with Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin, getting quality line mates for the first time in his career, learning from future Hall of Famers every single day. That's an environment where a young player can thrive, where he can develop his game while also contributing to a winning team. The Penguins have a history of getting the most out of young forwards, and their system could be perfect for maximizing Robertson's skill set. Plus, at 23 years old with a relatively cheap contract, he fits into their salary cap structure without causing major issues. For a team that needs to manage every dollar carefully while still trying to compete, Robertson represents exactly the kind of value play they should be targeting. But here's the catch. Pittsburgh is also an aging team that might not be playoff bound much longer. If the Penguins miss the playoffs this year, or next, suddenly Robertson finds himself on another non-competitive team, just with better veteran leadership. The risk is real, but so is a potential reward if Pittsburgh can squeeze one more playoff run out of their championship core. And then we got the Columbus Blue Jackets, another rebuilding team that sees Robertson as a potential piece of their long-term puzzle. Columbus is young, they're developing talent, and they've got cap space and opportunity to offer. For Robertson, going to Columbus would mean regular ice time, a chance to be part of building something from the ground up, and the ability to grow alongside other young players. The Blue Jackets have some interesting young talent, and adding Robertson to that mix could accelerate their rebuild. He brings speed, goal-scoring ability, and offensive creativity that Columbus desperately needs. Plus, in a smaller market with less pressure and scrutiny, Robertson might be able to develop his game without the constant media attention and criticism that comes with playing in Toronto. But again, we run into the same problem we have with San Jose. Columbus is not a good team right now. They're going to lose games, they're going to struggle, and Robertson will be putting up whatever numbers he manages on a team that's nowhere near competitive. Is that what's best for his development? Does playing 20 minutes a night on a bad team actually help you more than playing 12 minutes on a good team? That's a legitimate question without an easy answer. Here's what really gets me about this whole situation. Toronto has created this mess themselves. They drafted Robertson. They developed him in their system. They've seen what he can do when given opportunity. And now, because they can't figure out how to manage their roster properly, they're going to ship him out for what will probably be a mid-round draft pick or a B-level prospect. And I'd be willing to bet significant money that wherever Robertson lands, if he gets consistent ice time and opportunity, he's going to produce at a level that makes Toronto regret this trade. How many times have we seen this movie before? Toronto trades a young player with potential because they can't find room for them. That player goes somewhere else and thrives. And then Leafs fans spend years wondering what might have been. It happened with Nazem Kadri. It happened with numerous other prospects and young players over the years. And it's about to happen again with Robertson. From Toronto's perspective, they're apparently not just looking to dump Robertson for nothing. They want real value back. Draft picks, prospects, something tangible that helps their organization. And you know what? Good for them for actually trying to maximize a return. But let's be realistic about what that return is going to look like. Robertson is a 23-year-old winger with 15 goals last season who can't crack Toronto's lineup. That's not exactly a premium trade chip. We're probably talking about a third or fourth round pick, maybe a prospect who's a few years away from NHL ready. That's the reality of the market for a player in Robertson's situation. Toronto can posture all they want about getting fair value, but teams know the Leafs need to move him more than teams need to acquire him. That shifts the leverage significantly. The timing here is crucial too. Training camp is almost over. Rosters need to be set and decisions need to be made. If Toronto is going to move Robertson, it needs to happen now. Every day they wait, they lose a bit more leverage because teams will commit to other options or finalize their rosters without him. What's particularly frustrating about all of this is that Robertson represents exactly the kind of asset that smart teams hold on to and develop. He's young, he's cheap, he can score goals, and he's got room to grow. In a perfect world, Toronto would find a way to keep him, give him consistent ice time, and let him develop into the player he can be. But we don't live in a perfect world, and the Maple Leafs have salary cap constraints and roster construction issues that force them to make moves like this. If I'm Robertson, I'm probably relieved to be getting out of Toronto. Honestly, the opportunity has never been there for him in a consistent way, and at some point, you need to go somewhere that actually wants you and will give you a real chance to succeed, whether that's San Jose, Pittsburgh, Columbus, or somewhere else entirely. Getting out of Toronto might be the best thing that ever happens to his career. But if I'm a Leafs fan, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that the team can't figure out how to properly utilize the young talent they draft and develop. I'm frustrated that salary cap mismanagement forces them to make moves like this. And I'm frustrated that we're probably going to watch Robertson score 25 goals next season for whatever team acquires him, while Toronto struggles to find secondary scoring. So here's my question for you. Where should Nick Robertson go? Is San Jose the right fit despite the losing? Would Pittsburgh be the perfect environment for him to thrive? Could Columbus offer the best balance of opportunity and development? Or should Toronto just figure out how to keep him and give him a real chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely want to hear what you think about this situation. And if you're following along with all the latest NHL trade rumors and roster moves, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any updates. The next few days are going to be wild as teams finalize their rosters, and we'll be here breaking down every significant move. Nick Robertson's future is up in the air right now, and wherever he lands, it's going to be fascinating to watch how his career unfolds.